The Tagalog word of the day is
barko.
Which means boat. My surname, innit?
Being a British Filipino can be a mazzoline. So, let's get into this week's Chismis.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Chismis. It's your girl JT.
It's your girl Giselle.
What's good, guys? It's Gia Lorraine.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Yet again.
Be back.
Wow.
How is everybody?
Good.
I'm cold, man. We were complaining how hot it was last time, and now it's cold.
Real talk.
It's true. To all the people that said, I don't like the sun, I don't want the sun. Look what you did.
Look what you did.
Look what you did.
Nah, literally, you know my reel on Instagram. I was complaining about the heat that I couldn't see.
Why is it so hot?
That's what I sounded like. The next day, it was raining.
Now look, it's cold. You're
Sorry.
cold.
And windy.
My bad.
That's okay.
So, what are we talking about this week?
Today we are talking about go on, Jizz. We're just passing it along to each other.
Oh my god, how do I even explain
That's
this?
why I gave it to you, fam. I didn't want to put no title to
Let me
it.
explain the backstory and then...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, guys.
You have a backstory to this, Jizz.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. That girl who DM'd you on Instagram.
Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. Oh, yes,
Oh.
sorry. Let's start again. So, a couple weeks ago, I had this girl DM me, hey, if you're listening, and we basically had this like long conversation just about sort of identity, Filipino identity, obviously for us British identity. And the girl that I was talking to, she lives in America, I believe, but grew up basically in different places. So obviously she adopted like different cultures, and like, yeah, the conversation that we had was really interesting. There was a lot of stuff that she asked me that surprised her, and you know, likewise. So we just thought, yeah, why not chuck it into an episode and dive deep about it, really.
Yeah. Boy. She said
That's
deep episode today.
Deep one.
Deep. Not that deep.
Not that deep. It's okay. So how should we start? It kind of just brings me back to school, to be honest.
Yeah.
Have you guys gone through identity crisis, not knowing what you identify yourself as, like Filipino or British Filipino?
I don't think that deep, you know. Am I
Same.
the only one that don't think that deep? What about you?
I don't think I thought that deep about it either, but I think having spoken to her, she made me realise a lot of things that maybe I hadn't realised that I had thought about and I had felt before. So for me, like, obviously she opened my eyes to these things, but before I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm Filipino, yeah, I'm British, I can do both. Like, I'm a bit of both. But like, if I was to ask you guys, you know, how British and how Filipino are you, in like as a percentage, what would you, in like obviously including culture, lifestyle, like everything, how much of you is British would you say, and how much of you is Filipino would you say? I know my answer because I spoke to her, but I want you guys to like think about it as well.
Flipping out. Jen, first.
I don't know.
I'm throwing it to you guys.
Throw me in the deep end. Obviously where we were born and raised in England, London, I feel like part of me is more British than Filipino because I did not grow up in a Filipino society. I did grow up in within the Filipino. Obviously, I grew up in Filipino culture, knowing it, and growing up with Filipino parents. They were very traditional and stuff. But I think I'm more British than Filipino.
Percentage.
Oh,
Roughly,
We want mathematics up in here,
okay,
please.
60-40.
And then
Is
we'll revisit at the end because you might
Okay.
change your mind, innit? So
Yeah, 60-40. I think.
60 being British,
Yeah, because I do want to say 50-50 because 50 is bit.
saying half basically.
Yeah.
And it's not half.
So I'm gonna say 60-40. So
Interesting.
60 British, 40 Filipino.
How about you, Miss Gian Lorraine?
I was thinking 50-50, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
In what
It
sense?
shocks me that you say 60-40.
But I feel like half is too much.
Nah, me 50-50, fam.
In what?
I'm thinking.
Obviously, we'll dive into, but in what senses?
Because yeah, clearly we're in London, innit? Even the way I speak is very London, innit? Even like the way I speak is more, let's say, road than these two. I don't know why. Like, we went to the same school. Gosh.
Just what you adopt, isn't it?
Yeah. And I enjoy speaking like that.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
But then the things I do. Okay, actually, the things I do are Filipino. Oh, now I'm
That's
thinking
what makes
about
me.
it.
Yeah,
I said
see?
70-30 because
Whoa!
because the things I do, the reason why I do certain things is very Filipino when you think about it. Where it
Wait, you're
comes...
70 Filipino?
Mhm.
What? Oh, I thought you meant 70.
No, 70 Filipino.
I'm thinking. Oh wow.
Because you follow superstitions. So
Yeah.
why is that part of the culture, not part of the percentage?
You're really making us.
Guys,
This
my
girl made me
died.
think so much.
Wow. No. Okay. Oh wow.
Do you see what I mean?
I'm actually speechless. I do think I'm. Yeah. Wow.
Take a moment. Take a
Yeah,
moment.
taking a moment, pause. Everybody pause the podcast and think about their identity. Fuck. You know what, you guys speak.
I've never
lost
seen you so
for
lost
words.
for
I know,
words.
usually I'm the one who's able to speak, but today, like, apparently I can't speak. Sheesh. I'm learning new things. Anyway, go on.
So diving into it, so obviously I don't want to talk too much about this girl and what we were talking about, but for her, like, a lot of her upbringing was, you know, not Asian. I'm going to say not Asian because she's from two Asian backgrounds. So a lot of her upbringing was like American, where she was around her and she didn't know a lot about superstitions and stuff like that, whereas like we do, like we already have an episode on it, like the type of superstitions that we follow, ones that we don't break, like we religiously don't break it because of our Filipino culture. And then for me, I think a lot of what makes me British is, okay, yeah, I was born here, the language that I speak, and probably a bit of like my dress sense, but bruv,
The way we
legal
live,
with a
that's-
tabot,
Brother, I don't like showers, you know.
like, that's British of you.
Yeah, I don't like showers.
Mm.
I like tabot and bucket only.
Tabot.
I don't like it.
Is it? No,
don't
I like it. That's
I like
true.
shower.
Do you see what I mean?
And we, all three of us, fully understand Tagalog.
Yeah, it's true.
Fully.
Fluent.
Not everyone does.
Exactly.
Not everyone
So
does.
that's another like impact. And like even stuff like, you know, like going to school and then like your mum bringing you packed lunch. Like my mum would always try to do like send me off with Filipino
Adobo.
lunch and stuff like that.
Adobo and rice, bruv.
And then yeah, a lot of that like was not part of the British culture. A lot of people didn't really understand it and it was all new to them. Yeah, like, yeah.
I'm really putting my hand up to speak.
It's my turn.
Fuck's sake. Do you know what that brings me back to? We were applying for something for our podcast, and for our description, for some reason I plucked it out of my head. I mentioned that literally our generation is cool. It's first generation of like living here in London, but we are gonna be the last generation to actually kind of learn Tagalog fully, because when we pass it down to our children, do you think they're gonna know Tagalog as well as us? Because we like, do you know what I mean?
I know
Like,
what you
it's
mean.
never gonna be like this again.
Yeah.
Because our parents are full Filipino that came to this land and taught us their traits. And then of course we adopted a lot of bit of theirs and then a lot of the British culture. But then when we pass down to our kids, it's gonna be majority British culture, which is kind of crazy, because then like we are like, if you really think about it, it's so good that we're documenting this experience of ours, because it's never gonna happen again.
It's gonna be very filtered down.
Yeah, proper.
That's so scary.
Oh, wow, guys, my brain is going. My brain cells is just like, jeez, what is happening right now?
Our podcast really makes us learn about ourselves.
Yeah, a
Honestly,
lot.
guys, I'm speechless today.
She is
so
speechless.
First time for
Wow.
everything, innit?
That's so true.
Mhm.
If you really, really deep it.
Like really, really think
Yeah,
about it.
because when I have my kids, the way I'll just be talking like them.
Hey,
They're
what
basically-
one? They're gonna learn it from you.
Exactly, I'll be talking
What
like
one, Mum?
them.
Excuse me? I'm back from school, innit?
Literally.
Imagine.
Nah, wow, can you imagine my kids speaking back to me like that? I'm like, excuse me? We'll be fighting like that.
Oh my God, I'm from you though, what do you mean?
It's true. It's only when they go to Lola or Lolo.
Oh,
when they
yeah, that's when they'll do, oh, pot. Okay, pot, bless.
Yeah, it's
Just
true.
traditions, bro.
Okay, well, at the end of, I was thinking, okay, let me think about my percentage. We'll do it at the end, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah, the same girl that DM'd Jiz actually DM'd me as well, and she was actually asking a lot of questions about Filipinos, because like we said, she was very confused about what she identifies as, and she asked a lot of like questions regarding Filipinos and their stereotypes. Because she was saying that her mum was telling her that, you know, Filipinos are very judgmental, and the country is like very dirty
and poor. Some of the stuff I was just like, whoa,
very shocked. And she even went on to ask, like, oh, like, you know, when you go back home, is it true that like people always stare at you, and like when you're wearing short skirts, do people like catcall and blah blah blah? And I was just like, bruh,
that happens here.
It happens everywhere.
That's what I had to tell her. I said it's not just Philippines that has these issues, it's in London too, B.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere you go. And she also asked me, a bit TMI, so if you don't want to hear it, close your ears.
What is it?
She asked me about, like, so if I wear a dress or a skirt, like if I just wear panty or thong underneath, or if I like wear extra shorts and stuff like that. And at first I was a bit like, whoa, this is a bit weird, this is a bit invasive. But obviously I put myself in her shoes. Like, a lot of what her mum had told her was quite negative and like very judgy, and I just tried to sort of open her eyes to the fact that it's not just a Filipino thing. Like, there's gonna be that in every place you go, every culture you have. And I was just trying to like help her be able to like communicate with her mum, because I kind of felt what she was saying. Like, I've experienced some stuff like that. Like, growing up, my mum would always tell me, like, don't wear too short skirts and don't go out late at night and don't do this because of the men and blah blah blah, when really, like, why is that my problem if the men are like catcalling me and looking at me? Like, it's not something on me, it's more that they, you know, men need to learn that. And you know, everyone, like, it's not right, innit?
Yeah, it's not something that's attached to a culture or a race. It's just those individual people are
how they are.
Yeah.
It's so true. But yeah, Filipinos can be quite judgmental.
And it really made me think, like, Filipinos, they have a lot of negative stereotypes.
A lot. It's true.
Oh, that's so true, you know.
And it's like, as much as they want you to be westernized, they still want you to be a Filipino girl. Like, it's just a bit like...
Nah, do you know what I'm thinking now, you know?
What?
In terms of Jen just... Sorry, Jiz was just dancing.
You're just like...
What? If you want to see her dancing, make sure you check out the YouTube. Jen mentioned how there's a lot of negative stereotypes to Filipinos, but I feel like it's Filipinos doing negative stereotypes to Filipinos. But if you hear other people speak about people from other races, they would say, oh, can you sing? Oh, pantsit. Oh, you must be smart. Oh, you can dance. I wouldn't think they would say negative stuff. It's just Filipinos saying negative stuff about Filipinos.
That is true. A lot of Filipinos look down on each other.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah.
But having said that, other races do think that Filipinos, there are negative stereotypes, because they would think FOBs are nurses or maids or do like labor work and all of that stuff.
Babysitters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the nannies.
That is true.
That's true.
That
does show up.
They be grinding.
It's true.
Yeah, they be
hard
grinding.
workers. It is true.
Yes. Oh, speaking of that, Jen, you mentioned about FOBs. It just brings me back to when, shout out to Moe Shah. She's doing a Bini Bini project. I think we've mentioned it before. We had a big Zoom call with like 15 girls, I think. We were talking about FOBs. And okay, just to bring it back to me, when I was like in secondary school, younger, I personally, I don't know about you guys, would look down at the FOBs. I don't know why. Like
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I thought, oh, freshies, FOBs, not banda. Like, I wouldn't even make friends. yeah, I wouldn't make friends with them. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't know too many, but like if you'd see them in Chinatown, you know, photo booth and that, shout out to you if you remember that. If you don't, yeah, you're too young. But anyway, like when you'd see them and you can hear them speak Tagalog, it's just like
yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's true.
And when we had that conversation, I was thinking, wow, I was actually bad gal, naughty gal. How can I think that?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like they were mentioning how like these people come to grind, they know 2 languages, and they're out here doing bits, and
they've come to make a living.
Yeah, just because they're a little bit fresh off the boat, you look down on them. Like you should be looking up at them. And when I clocked that, I was just like, oh fuck.
And
you
the
know
thing
what?
is,
that's so true.
like we actually forget that our parents are quote unquote FOBs as well.
It's true.
It's
so
true.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not like that now. Okay.
Shifting mindset.
we
you know?
grow.
Yeah.
We grow.
Yeah. I'll let you know when. Like I have story for when I felt like I combat that mindset, but I'll let you guys, like you speak. I speak too much, man. What do you guys think about what I said?
For me, yeah, I remember like I don't think I'd consciously act on it or anything, but I remember sort of having the thoughts like, oh nah, like I don't want to be friends with them, like being stingy towards them, like not even giving them a chance when they could be like the nicest people I'd ever meet. But I'd always just have that sort of like, oh no, I don't really know them, and then we're not really gonna get along, we have nothing in common. So, and then I'd just like keep my distance basically, which was so dumb.
I know. I'm just thinking, like, you guys went campy properly.
Yeah.
Properly, you know. Properly. Well, you guys proper go campy and that, and that's like a big Filipino community. I didn't really have that, so I don't really see Filipinos too much. So how is that?
Can I just drop a quick story? Yeah?
I'm scared. Is it to do with me?
I'm scared.
This
No,
bitch
it's
is
to
laughing.
do with campy. It's to do with campy.
Yeah, but I've got bad stories from there as well, cuz.
Do you remember? So I remember, yeah, there was a guy that was playing on a team, and Jiz knew him. Well, not knew him, but like
we
had
were cool.
spoken to him before. And
I don't know this story.
I was like crushing on him. Yeah.
Cheers! I don't know this story.
And then like the one thing that I was worried about like talking to him was whether or not he was a FOB. So I remember I got his number and he sent me a voice note and I was like, fuck, he's a FOB.
And the funny part is, yeah, I'm not going to go into detail obviously, but like the guy wasn't even from London. He was from somewhere else in the UK, so his accent was already...
It was even what?
It was already different.
Is it bad that we're laughing?
Sorry, we're not laughing in that way.
No, we're not.
We're not
We've
laughing
grown.
in that
It's
way.
just like we
yeah,
said.
it's true.
It's just funny looking back at it, and
Yeah, it was bad mind
I
of
forgot
me.
about that, you know.
Yeah, it was bad mind of me to be worried about an accent, but at the time, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
And that reminds me, yeah, so like campy, for those of you who might not know, it's basically just a I'm not downplaying it. It's a like British Filipino basketball organisation where they basically like bring together loads of teams of basketballers from all ages, from like under 17s, under 21s, and like men's, and even like a veterans league as well. And yeah, we'd basically like spend the day there. There'd be basketball games, food, stuff like that. And like when you mentioned campy, it basically reminded me like even within campy, yeah, like, and I'm talking about like back in the day, like they'd be like quote like the cool Filipinos, so being the British Filipinos, and then there'd still be that like small divide between like the British Filipinos and the more quote FOBs, the freshies, and it's just mad that even in that environment there's still that small divide. Like I think it's changed now. It's changed a lot.
We're grown now.
Yeah, everyone's matured. But yeah, it's just crazy that there's still that little divide when clearly there's something all like bringing us here together and sticking us together, sort of thing. Like we have so much more in common than we realise, and that we allowed to accept. Yeah, look at us.
Look at us, bro. We even have a flipping podcast about fucking Filipino life, fam. Look at us, naughty bitches.
It's true. It's so true.
So bad.
Naughty bitches.
Oh my gosh, when do you guys think you had that shift? Okay, I'll tell you mine then.
Yeah, you go.
You think about it.
Ding dong.
For me, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on this podcast. Maybe it was in the Zoom call. When I was in uni, it was Whiteland. So I felt a little bit out of place because there's no like white people in East London as well. So when
There's not much. This girl said there's no white
there's
people.
none.
There's not many.
1 out of 200. So I found it really hard to make friends, and only I think in second year, you hear people at the back, oh my gosh, I think she's Filipino. Oh my gosh, you should say hi to her. You should invite her to her. And I turned my head, and then I spoke to them, and they were shocked that I had a a London accent actually. British accent and London accent's different, okay? And then when I started hanging out with them, oh my gosh, I felt so much at home. Even when they spoke Tagalog, I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. I actually liked it when they spoke Tagalog because I fully understood Tagalog as well. I was the only British Filipino there. The rest were like
foreign.
FOBs. FOBs.
We need to
with
ban
air
that
quotes.
word now.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so when I would hang out with them, oh my gosh, the way I would feel so grateful to feel at home, to actually have friends. And from then, like, I was just like, yeah, like, I'm just out here and open. I'm very open. That's what it is for me. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Feeling at home. I do feel at home when I'm with Filipinos. Like, look at us. We stick together like fucking rice. Literally, all my bloody friends are Filipinos.
It's true.
Filipinos. Yeah. That's my story.
I think for me, I don't really remember a conscious time where like my mindset changed. But I just think obviously as time went on, where I was meeting like new people and it's just like my mind opened to these things, and I didn't feel the need to sort of, I'm higher than you, because that was never the case anyway. So I think just as time went on, it just changed. How about you?
The same, but I don't know how many years ago it was. Probably like 3-4 years ago. A family friend had moved back, or my cousin had moved back from living in Philippines for 10 years. And obviously because he lived in Philippines and he moved there when he was quite young, his accent had obviously changed. He was fluent in Tagalog, and I just thought like, how deep would it be if he doesn't make any friends because of his accent and because he's a FOB. So I was just like, be my friends, innit?
Be my friend.
So true, there's no need all of that, man. Not nice.
We are mature and grown now, so don't come and cuss us, yeah?
We just told you our story.
Exactly.
You gotta respect them, because at the end of the day, they've packed up their whole life in the Philippines and moved across the whole world
globe,
to start a new life. Like, you gotta respect it, man.
A better life.
Exactly.
As well.
That literally triggered something in my head. This week, I think, literally this week, I was thinking about it. Our parents really came from, because I was speaking to this with my brother. Me and my brother were like, hey, they really made it, because like they were back in Philippines, flipping village, and okay, not village, they actually went from the village, came from Philippines, worked, and now we live in a house in London. Like, do you know how mad that is?
They've got jobs.
And we can actually go shopping, and we can actually eat food. Like, me and my brother were like, yeah, they made it. We made it. I mean, they made it.
They like really paved the way.
They made it, and that means we have to one up it and make it even, even
and
more.
they gave us a good life, or they've given us a good life and stuff. So.
You look like you want to cry.
It's okay. No, I don't want to cry.
That even reminds me actually as well. So my mum's side, she lives in the province, and so I was there. This was a couple of years ago, and then it must have been like a song. I can't remember. You know how them. I cannot remember.
She says with such a straight face, sing it.
I cannot remember. But it was just like a big song, like a commercial song. And then in the song, it mentioned like getting a coffee from Starbucks. And then I remember my cousin asking me, like, they were like, oh yeah, like, what's Starbucks? Like, have you been? And I
I remember
know,
the story.
and I think I said it on the Zoom, and I was just so like surprised, and I was a bit sad because you know they've never even they've never seen a Starbucks, they've never you know, like they don't know outside of their home and what they know within home. And I was just like, wow, like I'm so grateful to just see, like I know what they're talking about in the song, like they didn't even know what that was, and I was just so like mind blown at the fact that like, yeah, we're so privileged to be able to see all these things easily. Go on, you go. You keep going. You go before you lose it.
No, yeah, literally as you said that, I was thinking, it triggered it again in my head. This is why I don't write notes. I don't write notes for our podcast episode. They always trigger stuff for me. I was praying this morning, yeah, and I like to pray about the world. And you know when you think about all the problems in the world, I'm even closing my eyes and doing prayer hands like I'm about to pray. But I was asking God to bless the world, yeah, and I was thinking about all the problems in the world, and I was just like, right, I'm really in my bed, and like we are very privileged, man. I was deep in it. I was like, whoa. I pray about the world every day, yeah, but today I deeped it. I was like, whoa, like man's out here what having a podcast and that. But you know what I mean, like if you're listening to this, just know that you're very, very privileged, because what, you got Spotify, that's £10 a month.
True, like be grateful.
It's mad,
appreciative. Yeah, shout out to our parents.
Cheese, mumsy and father and that. That's too mad.
Yeah. List.
What list?
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh, actually, I was gonna say, even the fact that we eat with a spoon and fork.
Bro.
Filipino. It's not no knife and fork, you know.
Even just fork. Some people just use just fork.
Just spoon.
It's so weird.
How can you control your food
with the knife and
fork? Well,
Don't
knife and
even
fork
get
is
me
can't,
started.
but just a spoon or a fork, like on its own. How do you?
Honestly, I want a lot of food in my mouth at the same time.
Yeah. I need the rice, the meat, the veg, the sauce, all in one bite.
All in one bite. Yeah, that's the thing.
But yeah, we actually do very Filipino things in our life.
We do indeed.
We
in
do,
our
man.
lifestyle.
Proper, like you said, superstitions. Let me tell you one superstition that came true. My flower.
Yeah.
My mom said not to touch it when I'm on my TMI period, and then I touched it when I was on my period and it died.
Can you believe it?
All of the flowers. There were like 8.
Oh, stop.
There was 8 bloomed flowers looking healthy. Bruv, they're dried.
And you went 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like, we just went flying.
I said, hello, oh my gosh, you're looking beautiful today. Oh my gosh, you look so cute today.
The flower said, no thank you.
And then they all crisped up.
It really said,
And
take your period
they dropped
self away.
Can you imagine, guys? So please don't touch the plant when you're on your period.
Do not
And
touch.
that is the end of the story. What's our takeaway message for the people them? Our Asian them? Our people of color them?
For me, I think it would be to just always try have an open mind, not to sort of judge straight away, and to just be open, like open to learn and open to express yourself. Yeah.
I think it's okay to be confused about what you are, because there's, like at the beginning of the episode, Jen, her percentage was very off, but now she's true Filipino.
Trust me.
Yeah, it's okay to be confused. Don't stress about it too much. You're growing up. You're gonna go through things. Your brain will change. Like, it's
Yeah, your
okay.
mindset will change.
Yeah.
Change.
You're always
It's
growing,
there.
always learning. So don't stress too much.
Final take-home message.
Embrace culture. Even British
Okay.
culture. Even your Filipino culture. Your Asian culture. Just big it up.
Even your
Big
friends'
it up.
culture, innit? Like learn,
Yeah, 100%.
you know, be open.
100%. Like, culture is nice. There's bare food out there.
It's true, you know.
Nah.
Bare food out there.
There's so much to learn when it comes to culture. I know probably 2% of the Filipino culture, but we out here learning. So, like we mentioned in our last episode, the Fox Eye trend, if you haven't watched it, listen to it, we mentioned to keep on
Learning.
Yes, and that's all I gotta say, you know.
Bye.
Alright, see ya.
It's always
Enjoy.
Bye.
Enjoy your.
Have a good week, guys.
That's it. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your month, but enjoy your week. Have a good one.
Be
Stay
safe.
blessed.
Take
Peace.
care.
Bye.
You've reached the end of another episode with your favorite chismosas. If you're eager to learn more about us and the culture, find us at 22 Chismis on all platforms.